exactly? And were there witnesses based on the contradictions? That's a big question.
And what did they witness? And who did they witness? And it's such a...
I tell you exactly what I think. I really believe this with everything that's in me. I don't believe that Jesus died from being hung on the cross. I think that when they took him off the cross, he was still alive. I think they put him in the tomb and he recovered there. And when he came out, he had the wounds in him because he got hung up on a cross, but he never died from that. I don't see that happen. After between 3 and 9 hours hanging on the cross, when it was a 3-day execution, they had it down to a science, took 3 days. And Jesus, after 3 to 6 hours or 3 to 9 hours, supposedly died from it. I don't think so.
There is a book, and of course, I can't remember the name of the book, where it shows all these things taken right out of the Gospels that basically show exactly what you're saying. For example, before he died, he was given... depends on which version you want to believe, vinegar with myrrh.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Okay. And according to this novelization, what he was actually given was a drug to make him look like he died.
Oh, that would not surprise me either. Yeah.
And then he gets taken off. It's not a great book, but I can't remember the name of the book, by the way. But basically, it is taking everything that the New Testament says of what happened as close as they can get to the order, depends on which gospel you look at, and then basically shows what could have happened to make it look like Jesus died and came back to life.
Right. Okay, so someone and I won't do this a lot, but I just noticed Kenneth Buckwalter in chat said that recent apologetics say 500 witnesses. But the more I follow these podcasts, the more I question, the more questions he has. Good so, because there was no way there was 500 witnesses to that.
Even if there were 500, how many witnesses saw Elvis?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if your faith is so strong, you don't want to believe that you were wrong by following the wrong Messiah, because the Messiah is not supposed to die.
Right.
And so your psyche takes over. It's called cognitive dissonance.
And you asked, what did they witness? That's very important. Again, I think they might have witnessed him walking around after he recovered from the tomb. Doesn't mean he was resurrected.
And it doesn't mean it was actually him.
Right. It's kind of like
and all of this is conjecture, because it is taking as fact the New Testament Gospels.
The same thing goes with
as it is.
Same thing with the Shroud of Turin. They're trying to say that's proof that first of all, the Shroud of Turin doesn't prove anything except that there was a man inside that cloth. Doesn't prove who it was. Doesn't prove that he was resurrected. It just means that there was somebody underneath the cloth.
It doesn't even mean there was a man in the cloth.
Oh, yeah?
The earliest church, when they came out with the Shroud of Turin, the church labeled it a fraud.
Oh, right.
And then they thought better of it because, hey, if it increases faith, let's keep it around.
Ah, right.
Read up on the history of the Shroud of Turin.
That's a good point, yeah.
And there's so many problems with the Shroud of Turin. But, hey, if your faith is weak, then you need stuff like the Shroud of Turin to revalidate your faith.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Joel C. Solomon.
to have said that when Jesus knew that his enemies were coming to arrest him, he asked his disciples for a volunteer who would take his place on the cross, and the youngest of them volunteered for that position. And in the meantime, Jesus was taken up into heaven through the hole in the roof, perhaps, where he was staying. And when his enemies came in to arrest him, Judas identified the person who now was made to look like him, this volunteer. And that volunteer was then taken and put on the cross in the mistaken belief that he was actually Jesus. The one distinction we would make is that when people thought they saw him die, he wasn't actually dead, because when you look at a person from the foot of the cross, he appears to be dead, but unless you check his pulse, unless you use certain methods of investigation, you would not be sure that the person is dead. It is very possible, and it seems even likely, that he was taken down from the cross alive.
Okay.